Hello, I'm David, and today I'm going to give you a demo of Logi Report. Logi Report is the industry-leading operational reporting solution that it helps application teams and enterprises add reports to their offering. Now, the operational report use case really consists of solving two types of reports. It is building pixel-perfect reports and building banded reports. And today we're going to take a look at both and all the other requirements or features that we need from a reporting tool to be able to do operational reporting well. Let's start by talking about pixel-perfect reports. I think a great example of a pixel-perfect report is a tax form. If you think of it, when I build the tax form, it matters quite a lot where all the text, all the lines, all the symbols are on the page, even the size of the page. And a pixel-perfect report or a solution that lets me build them has to let the report writer define exactly where all those items are going to be on a page. So with Logi Report, we get that kind of precision, which is crucial for the pixel-perfect report. At the end of the day, a pixel-perfect report is all about the layout. We need to generate a layout that is exactly the same way every single time. And then when we run the report, we need to be able to place data inside of that layout, like the name of the individual or how much money they made in case of a tax form. The other report is a bandit report. And in a bandit report, instead of having layout be the #1 priority, we have data generate that layout for us. And I think an invoice is a good example, because if you look at invoices, different customers are going to have different number of rows in each table. They might even have different subsections inside of the invoice. So you need a product. You need a report writer that is able to generate these reports dynamically when you run them, and you need to be able to create that layout first. And of course, Logi Report lets us do that, as you can see with this invoice report that I have embedded in this page. Another great example of this of a bandit report is what I have is this end of year summary report that you see here. And it shows how we can really create visually compelling reports by having detailed information, having tables, having charts, all controlled with things like page breaks, even controlling the layout of our pages as we go through. So when you need to generate these kinds of reports and you need these reports to perform, that's where Logi Report really shines. And that brings me to the kinds of characteristics that you need from a operational reporting product for it to be able to do its job, and of course things that Logi Report does extremely well. So as I move on to this other page, you'll see a great example of the kind of performance that you need to be able to do this. With Logi Report, I'm able to offer my end users a nice report that renders quickly, is interactive. The user can drill into the next layer of data. And even if the report is rather large, we need to get that report out to the end user quickly so that they can page through, as you see me doing right now, even if this report has 204 pages. And the reason that Logi Report lets me do this is because the engine behind the scenes is actually giving out the first few pages as data lands and letting the user start interacting with the report as the rest of it gets generated. But the performance is not only in the browser. You can also see, if I were to export this report to PDF, it's really ready in a blink of an eye. All 204 pages. So that brings us to another concept that Logi Report gives us, and that is the flexibility with how we can deliver the report to the end user. So you just saw me, interact with the report in the browser, You saw me export it to PDF, but we also want to give our users some flexibility with a format that they can get their hands on the report or the underlying data. So you see here we can export things to PDF, HTML, Excel, text, RTF, XML, PostScript. Quite a lot of flexibility. The other thing is when for delivery, sometimes the user doesn't want to actually go in and grab the report themselves. So we also have the option of scheduling this report to go out on a regular basis, let's say every Sunday or every Monday. And the scheduling function in Logi Report is extremely sophisticated. It lets me do things like 1, pick the period, 2, select the type of delivery, so the format that I want in the attachment. I can also decide to archive that report if I want to. And I can choose if instead of having it sent via email, I want to save it to an FTP location, I can also go ahead and do that. So it gives you quite a lot of power when you need to schedule the delivery of these reports out. So far we've seen how Logi Report lets us create extremely precise, pixel-perfect reports, like the tax form. We saw how Logi Report lets me create banded reports like the invoices and like that the coffee sales end of year report that we saw. And then we saw the kind of performance that we can get running 204 pages extremely quickly from the browser. The next thing that I want to talk about is giving power to the user. And the reason for this is the more sophisticated users, the more you give them reports, the more they're going to want to tweak that report or even create new reports from scratch. And that can be quite a burden on the person on the reporting team or the application team that is maintaining those reports. With Logi Report, I can let my user go in and do the work themselves. So everyone's happy. If a user, let's say, wants to switch this to edit mode and then change the orientation of the chart, they can quickly come here and choose a column chart or a bar chart instead of a column chart. And it's not only the chart type. As you can see on the left-hand side, I have what we call a business view. Business views are an abstraction, a business abstraction of the underlying data used to generate the report. And it lets a customer go in and, let's say, grab a customer name and plop it right into the table that they're working with. All those scheduling, all those exporting options are still live, even though I, as an end user, just tweaked my report. So this becomes a much more flexible, much more powerful offering for your end users. So to summarize Logi Report, it lets us create visually compelling pixel-perfect reports and banded reports, and it does so in a way that is extremely performant and extremely precise and flexible with how I can deliver all this content out to the end user. I hope you've enjoyed today's demo. And if you want more information, please let us know.